rituals. Rituals have several meanings. If you use it with a small r, it means, under one definition by Edmund Leach, repetitive, formalized, communicative behavior. So that's a very, very broad definition, which includes everything from handshakes to ceremonies and so on. And that's how I will talk about it now. If you include communication with spirits, with forces outside this world, then I add a capital R, and so you have Roman Catholic rituals or shamanic rituals. But I'm talking about these repetitive events in our lives, and I've gradually grown to realize how important they are. If you look at anyone's day, my day for example, it's filled with small rituals: the making of the breakfast, the cleaning of the teeth, the walks, the cups of coffee, all sorts of things which are repetitive and many of them communicative as well. And they are particularly important because, as a former student of mine pointed out, when we do any action, most of them are very complex. Even boiling a kettle or making an egg, boiling an egg, is not easy. It's a set of stages and timings and procedures, which if you had to think about it all the time, would just weigh you down, rather like if you're driving a car on a long journey. Most of the time you're thinking about other things. If you were constantly thinking, now do I move my hand slightly to the left or the right, or put the brake on, then it would be impossible to live. So we basically set up lots of mini programs using computers which run automatically. As soon as you switch on the stove for cooking your curry, then you are carried through the rituals of making it without having to think about it very much unless you vary it. And so rituals are a great release. But of course they are also a great trap, because the nature of them is that they're formalized. In other words, once you start at the beginning of them, you can't suddenly break off, because then the whole thing collapses. So you are tied into them, or in a kind of insistent path, and to escape it is neither easy nor desirable in many ways. So most societies spend most of their time in that form of activity. And it's something similar and a missing part to the idea of habitus from Bourdieu, which is the invisible rules which dictate our lives, of which we're not aware, but they are a deep grammar in linguistic terms, which mean that we act in certain ways most of the time without being aware of it. And habitus is a new word for what anthropologists used to call custom, that most of our behavior is customary behavior. And this was particularly noticed by anthropologists because when they went to another society, they noticed all the strange customs, the binding of feet or the burning of widows or whatever it was, many of them unpleasant, but very obvious, whereas in your own society, customs are so taken for granted you really don't notice them, that you drive on a certain side of the street or that you greet people in certain ways. So we don't see our own customs most of the time, just as we don't see our own rituals, but we see them in other societies. And so rituals, these little rituals, make manifest or explicit aspects of the deeper social structure and mentality, which is why certainly when I went to Nepal, I was particularly excited when some kind of ritual, either with a capital R or small r, was occurring, because I could then see some way into people's inner assumptions and thoughts, which you can't do on the smooth surface of everyday life. So this talk that I'm giving, one of many around the themes of my life has become a sort of ritual, and I hope you'll continue with all your little rituals, including watching these talks. Thank you.